Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Sophie and in today's video I'm going to be continuing book series that I'm currently in the middle of. So before I get into the video, please remember to like this video if you enjoy it and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content. Primarily read romance, thriller and fantasy books. Let's get into the video. As I've already said, today's video I'm going to be continuing book series that I'm currently in the middle of. Now I was looking at my physical TBR and all the series that I currently have ongoing, and I have a lot of series that I'm in the middle of, or I only have one book left to read. So by the end of the year, I really want to make some progress in all the series that I'm in. I really want to wrap things up, and I also want to change how I read and not necessarily binge read series one after the other. I do want to be reading the books in series in quite close succession to each other. Otherwise, we get to the point where I'm in the middle of so many series, I don't know whether I'm coming or going with them, and there's just too many. So I am in the middle of a lot of series, primarily a lot of romance series. I do have a few fantasy, but I think I'm a lot better at keeping on track of those. With romance, I tend to read the first book and then leave ages to read the second, and it's not a big issue because often with romance books you follow a different couple each book anyway. But I really need to stop starting romance series. Start a romance series and read the whole thing. Start another one, read the whole thing. So this vlog, I've got 3 romance series that I'm currently in the middle of and a fantasy book as well. So the fantasy book that I'm going to be reading for this vlog is The Trouble with Peace by Jo Abercrombie. This is the second book in the Age of Madness series, which is the last series in the First Law world currently. I really enjoyed the first one. This is set approximately 20 years after sort of the first trilogy, and we follow some characters that were in that series, we follow some of their descendants, and we follow a whole bunch of new characters basically during the revolution of this world, the industrial revolution of this world. So I really enjoyed the first book. It was a great setup for the rest of the series, so I need to carry on. I then have the second book in quite a few romance series. So we have Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This is the second book in the When in Rome series, and I've had this series ongoing for over a year. When in Rome was actually one of the books I featured in my very first reading vlog on this channel. I really enjoyed it, and then it just never continued. So I've had this one out from the library for a really long time now, so I really need to get this one done as well before it needs to go back. This is the second book. The series is not yet finished. I believe there's 3 books out of 4, but I will check and let you know. But I really enjoyed the first one, so I really need to read this one. I then have The Risk by Elle Kennedy, which is the second book in the Briar U series. This is a spin-off series to the Off-Campus series, which is all about hockey romances, and we follow a different couple in each book. Really enjoyed the Off-Campus series, and I didn't enjoy the first book in this series as much. I'm hoping that it will get better as the series progresses, so I am excited to read this one. And then finally we have Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This is the second book in the Rose Hill series by Elsie Silver. Again, this one isn't currently finished, but I think the 4th and final book comes out later this year, so it would be great to wrap this series up by the end of the year. I read the first one. It wasn't my favourite Elsie Silver book. I gave it a 3.5 stars, and I'm hoping that I enjoy this one a lot more. So what I'm going to start with, as I said, I'm going to start with the Jo Abercrombie book, and then I will also be reading Practice Makes Perfect if I want a break from the fantasy. At the moment I'm struggling a little bit with fantasy, so I want to give myself the option, read a bit of this and then maybe read a bit of this one. So I'll check back in with you guys when I've got a reading update for you. Hey guys, so I'm just coming in with a quick reading update for this vlog. So I have actually started reading the Jo Abercrombie book, but I will speak about that one later because I'm not actually too far into it at the moment. But I have started and finished reading Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams, so this one can finally go back to the library after it being in my room for like months. So in this one we follow Annie, who is Noah's brother. Noah was the love interest in the first book, and Annie runs a florist in the town of Rome, Kentucky, and her love interest is Will, who is Amelia's bodyguard. Amelia obviously was in the first book. Annie goes on a date with someone who works in the local bank, and she goes off to the toilet, and when she comes back she overhears him on a phone call saying that she's completely undateable, she's really boring, she's not even like a one-night stand kind of material. So she gets really upset. She leaves the date same time as the bloke, and she bumps into Will, who is also on a date, and they get talking. There's chemistry between them. She goes home and she speaks to Amelia, and she basically says like, I'm giving up, I don't really know what to do anymore, I'm terrible at dating. So Amelia decides that she's going to rope in Will to basically practice dating with Annie, and I think she knows that these two like each other, and that basically pushes them together. Fake date, they go on dates together, and eventually obviously they fall in love. So this one was really cute. I really liked Annie and Will as a couple. It was really nice to see them really support each other her, and Annie wanted very specific things in life, but she never forced that on Will. Will wants a very different life to Annie, and then I think them spending time together makes Annie realise that what she wants isn't actually what she wants, it's what she thinks she wants. Annie's parents and Noah's parents, they both died when Annie was only 3, and she never really properly grieved because she felt like she never knew them, and she kind of in her head wanted the perfect life, the perfect marriage, but actually that's what other people wanted for her, not actually what she wanted. So Annie's sort of character growth was really good to see, and it was really nice to see her grow. Will was a really supportive boyfriend, like he was just really, really lovely. I loved them as a couple, and yeah, this was a really, really cute book to read. It didn't really take me too long to read. I don't really have too much to say about it because I just really, really liked it. I didn't really have any issues with it, and I gave it a 4-star. There wasn't really anything wrong with it, but it just didn't give me 5-star feelings. Like, it was really good. It wasn't like the best romance book I've ever read, but I still really, really enjoyed it. I kind of was getting a little bit annoyed at the small town vibes. So this is set in a very small town called Rome, Kentucky, and everyone is just in everyone's business, and for me, I just really don't like it. Like, in the book, I guess it's kind of funny, but at one point, one of the older women, they start a petition to basically say that Will shouldn't date Annie, and I just think it's not really any of your business. And like, it became such a sort of pivotal point in this book that this petition kept being brought up, and I was just like, why do you care? If you two are happy, why do you even care? And I was just kind of like, I wish people would mind their own business. That's just my personal opinion. It really started to grate on me. It started to grate on the characters as well. Like, Annie usually loves to make everyone happy, and she'll do anything to make people happy, even forgoing her own happiness. But yeah, even she was starting to get a bit annoyed by it, which was kind of good. But yeah, this was really, really cute. I would recommend this series. I'm really excited to read the 3rd one in this series when I can get it from the library. But yeah, this was really, really cute. Sarah Adams as well. This book had like no smut in it. There was like sex scenes, but they were more like fade to black. So if that's more your vibe, I would definitely say Sarah Adams is like an author for you. I know some people don't like to read too much smut, and like, to be honest with you, I do enjoy like smutty books, but sometimes it gets a bit too much when it's just like scene after scene after scene. You're just like, all right, take a breath. But yeah, this was really, really cute. I don't really have too much to say about it, to be honest with you. Like, the characters are really cute. It was really interesting to see Annie and her sisters, and like integrating Amelia into their dynamic. And obviously I think we follow the other 2 sisters in the later books, but I'm really excited to read their stories because one of them has like a high school sweetheart kind of vibe, and I think the next book was kind of set up. I'm not sure which sister the next book follows, but there was definitely set up for one of the sisters to have a romance in this town as well. So yeah, this is really, really cute. Would recommend this series if it sounds like your vibe. It's just cute romance. I wouldn't even say this is Grumpy Sunshine. Like, he's not really grumpy, but he kind of is to everyone but Annie, but not really, because he's also a sweetheart. So yeah, it was just cute, really. That's all I have to say. It was just very cute. Hey guys, so I'm just coming with another reading update. So I am about 30% of the way through Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver, and I'm really, really loving this one so far. Definitely a lot more than the first one, which was Wild Love. So in this one, we follow Weston Belmont and Skylar Stone. So Weston is Rosie's brother from the previous book, and Skylar Stone is a famous country musician, and she was mentioned in the previous book as someone that Ford wanted to work on an album with, and she comes down to his recording studio to record an album with him, but she's got a lot going on in her life, so she's kind of escaping from everything going on there. And she meets Weston when she pulls over on the side of the road to take a picture of herself with a grizzly bear. They almost get eaten and then she goes to the recording studio, and Rosie sets her up to stay in Weston's bunkhouse because the cottages for the recording studio are not yet up, and that's where she's like, oh shit, I've already met him. And then we go from there. So Weston is a single dad. He shares custody with his ex-wife, but there's no animosity there. They do get along really, really well, and Skylar just basically fits right in. So she's going through a lot at the moment. So she's just found out that all the contracts that she signed over the years, her mum and dad have basically taken all the money from them, and she has nothing. They're going through a divorce right now, so the money is kind of all over the place, and her boyfriend has basically admitted to her that he was only with her because her dad was paying him to be there. She's very upset by everything that's happened, and she comes down to Rose Hill early in hopes to get away from everything. And friendship that her and West strike up is really, really sweet. Like, she literally just sort of slots in to the life, and she gets along really well with his kids, and it's just really, really sweet. And I also really love their friendship together. So she's going through a lot, and he can see that, and he's not pushing anything. everything. He just wants to be her friend basically. But yeah, I'm really loving this one so far. I'm really loving the characters. I think the characters is what makes this book, like, they're just so, like, Weston is so funny and his kids are really funny as well. I don't usually like books that have like kids in it, like single dad kind of thing, but it's really working in this one. I'm absolutely loving it, and I just hope that the rest of the book is just as good. But yeah, I am loving this one so far. This is definitely going to be hopefully one of my top Elsie Silver books. Hey guys, so I'm just coming in with a quick reading update for The Trouble with Peace by Jo Abercrombie. I'm currently 167 pages through this one, so this is really difficult to give a synopsis as it's a second book in a series, but essentially this one is set, I think, about 20 or so years after the first trilogy in the First Law universe. So in the first book in this series, the world is finally sort of at peace, the unions are at peace, and there's a few people that aren't really happy with how this is being run. So we've got a few perspectives from different sections of this union, let's say, and in this one we are following on from the events of the last book, obviously, and the consequences for some of the actions that some of the characters undertook, and just the political maneuverings of this world. So we are currently in peacetime, but I think there's going to be some political maneuverings in this book that we're getting rumblings of in the first 100 or so pages. I think we're going to go to all-out war again, and we're really going to decide what is going to happen to this world, basically. Are all the countries, all the kingdoms going to be united, or are they going to be separated and run themselves, basically, instead of being under this union under one king? So Jo Abercrombie's writing is really interesting. I like the way that he sets up his character stories and how he's very good at going back and forth even within chapters from different perspectives, and I find that it's not confusing when he does that. I am really enjoying this series. I'm hoping to maybe get to sort of page 400 today. I'm not really sure. I want to get a big chunk of this one done today. I have absolutely no plans, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this one so far. It's just really difficult to give a synopsis of a second book in a series, especially when it's a second trilogy within a wider series. This is the 8th book in the First Law world, so it's really difficult to describe what's going on without spoiling anything. But it's really fun being back with some of these characters again from the original trilogy, and also our new set of characters that we were introduced to in the first book. And yeah, I'm just really interested to see where this world is going to go. I've been reading this for I think like 2 or 3 years now at this point, so yeah, this is a well-loved series by me, and I'm really eager to wrap this up and get it finished and just find out what happens to all these characters and what is going to happen with this world. So I'm going to crack back on with this one, and I'll check back in with you guys a bit later on. Hey guys, so I'm just coming in with another quick reading update for this evening. So I did get to page 379 of The Trouble with Peace by Jo Abercrombie. This one is getting really good. Jo Abercrombie is really good at moving all the pieces together, dropping hints throughout the story, but still leaving you really surprised. There was a few twists in this that I didn't really see coming, and I kind of had inklings about, but I was a bit shocked when some of them happened. We're just about to get into the sort of main action part of this book, which I'm really excited for, and I do want to be able to read this all in one go, so I'm going to take a break for this evening and carry on and finish it tomorrow, and I'm going to go on and read Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. But yeah, this is really good so far. Is this Jo Abercrombie's best series yet? Let's see. Obviously I've got the 3rd book to read after this, but yeah, it's really good so far. Hey guys, so I'm just checking back in as I have now finished reading The Trouble with Peace by Jo Abercrombie, and I'm going to give this one a 4.5 star rating. So this was really good. It doesn't suffer from middle book syndrome at all, and it was really well plotted. There's a lot of action, like the battle scenes are so well written. Jo Abercrombie really does a very good job of, he has this battle with so many characters, and you basically just kind of go between the different characters. So someone will walk past someone and you're in that person's perspective, and then as they walk past you shift over to the person they've just walked past, or yada. So it's really well written, just absolutely amazing, and I'm really interested to see what is going to happen in the final book in this series, because to be honest with you, I thought that the main sort of crescendo that happened in here was going to happen in the 3rd book, so I'm interested to see where that's going to go. There's a lot of political stuff going on with the scope of this world. Yeah, I'm really excited to see where our character's going to end up. And speaking of characters, I really like how Jo Abercrombie is so brutal with his characters. He's a bit like George R.R. Martin, like named characters die, or you know, things happen to them, that they lose limbs in battle and things like that. No one's spared really, and I really like that, because sometimes when you read a fantasy you know that the stakes aren't that high, because you know that the named characters are probably going to be okay. With Jo Abercrombie you just don't know what's going to happen to anyone, and just everyone, you know, you can't trust anyone in any of his books. But yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. So 4.5 stars. I'm very excited to get to the final installment in this series. I did also manage to get to 60% of the way through Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I'm hoping to go and finish that one this evening, so I'll check back in with you guys when I have a final update for that one as well. Okay, so it is a bit later the same day. I have now finished Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver, and this is a 5-star for me. I was laughing, I was crying. This was so good. West and Skylar together were just, I loved them. I loved them individually, I loved them together. You know, how West just, he wants the best for Skylar. So obviously they both live very different lives. Skylar is a very famous musician and West is a very sort of small town guy. He's got 2 kids. He was willing to give it all up for her to be happy without him, and just seeing her growth as a character and all the obstacles that she overcame and seeing her really come into herself was just so lovely. And just, yeah, I really loved them separate characters. I loved them together. I loved the whole dynamic between Skylar and West and the 2 children, and how even West's ex-wife was really supportive, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Like, no notes, just honestly that I was tearing up. Just the things that like Skylar did for West as well, like it went both ways. Like, you know, and she really cared about his kids as well, and it's just, I loved it. When Elsie Silver does it, when she does a 5-star, she gets me right in the feels. Like, this is a 5-star, and I really loved, I think it was Heartless and Reckless were 5 stars as well for me. Just, I love this. I love this. I can't stop thinking about them. But yeah, that's this one done. And then I'm going to be moving on to the last book for this vlog, which is The Risk by Elle Kennedy, and I'm really excited to start this one. Hey guys, so I'm just coming in to wrap this reading vlog up, as I did start and finish reading The Risk by Elle Kennedy. This is the second book in the Briar U series. So in this one we follow a Harvard hockey player, Jake, who was introduced in the first book in this series, and also Brenna. And Brenna is the daughter of the Briar hockey team coach Jensen. So obviously Harvard and Briar are rival teams, and Brenna and Jake kind of had a bit of chemistry when they met. So at the beginning of this book, Brenna is sort of friends with benefits with another Harvard hockey player, and Jake is the Harvard hockey captain, and he tells all of his teammates that they can afford no distractions, and you know, some of them got cut down on the drinking. He doesn't want them sort of having friends with benefits with girls that they kind of like and things like that. So he sort of makes this guy break it off with Brenna. He makes a lot of the guys stop drinking, doing drugs, that kind of thing, so they can focus on this really important game they have against Briar, which will get them into some sort of championship. This guy calls it off with Brenna. Brenna's a bit pissed off with Jake because she finds out that Jake was sort of the instigator of this, and she confronts him, and then we sort of go from there. They kind of have like a love-hate relationship. They're both attracted to one another, but they sort of refuse to act on it, sort of thing. So Brenna has a few things going on in her life. So like I said, she's the daughter of the coach of the hockey team, so all of the Harvard players sort of immediately think that she's out to sabotage them, when in fact she does like hockey and she does want to pursue a career in sort of like hockey commentating, but she's not that invested in that she's gonna like try and distract them with her womanly ways and things like that. Like, she just wants a good time. Her ex-boyfriend Eric is causing her some problems. So he is a drug addict and he is constantly calling her for money or for help, so there's that whole storyline as well. So Brenna and Jake have a few instances where they bump into each other and they help each other out, and Brenna is applying for a internship at a place called HockeyNet, which is like a hockey website that is blowing up kind of thing, and the guy there is a raging sexist, and when he finds out that she knows Jake, he's interested in her then, and he invites her to interview and things like that. So they have like a fake date at this guy's house to pretend like they're boyfriend and girlfriend so Brenna can get this job, and then Jake wants a real date in return, and then we sort of go from there really. I definitely think I enjoyed this one a little bit more than Summer and Fitz's story, just because it was a little bit different. In previous Elle Kennedy books, she has hit on sort of quite hard-hitting topics, like in the very first book, The Deal, and things like that. This one dealt with addiction and like the consequences of addiction and things like that, with Eric being that character, and how Eric doesn't just affect himself, his choices affect everyone around him, and even though him and Brenna aren't together, he's still relying on Brenna to help him out and things like that. Brenna as a character, she was going through a lot, so her and her dad don't have the best relationship, and it stems from the whole Eric relationship, and they work through that, and then you see her become happy with Jake and sort of really open up to people as well. She sort of struggles to let Jake in for a while, and then Jake has parents who are supportive, but they're not really interested in hockey. They don't come to any of his games, and he's going to be pursuing a professional career in hockey, so he wants his parents to get behind that. And then he also has a girl best friend who quite obviously has feelings for him that he is oblivious to. So there's a lot going on in this book, but I really enjoyed it. I gave this one a 4-star rating. The only thing I'm not enjoying as much is how we had a relationship with a rival team. So in all of the books prior to this, they were all Briar guys, right? You know, the very first series, the off-campus series, followed the 4 guys that all lived in the house together, and I kind of felt like this sort of sequel series would follow on that kind of same aspect. So Colin and Summer both live in that house now, so we immediately are one guy down, and then we get, I think the next book we follow Hunter, who lives in the house, but Mike, who also lives in the house, his relationship was kind of developed in here, which I would have quite liked. I would have quite liked to follow the same, I'd have liked to follow how we did in the first series, but I guess she wanted to mix it up a bit, which is fine. But it was weird sort of seeing a different group of hockey players and how that was going to work. Yeah, it was just really, it was fun to read. Like the smut scenes, it wasn't too much, I don't think. It was, again, like Elle Kennedy does, she intersperses it with the deep topics. This is really good, I think. And if you enjoyed the off-campus series and you haven't read the series, I'd definitely give it a go. Yeah, this was 4-star for me. Definitely enjoyed it more than the first book, and I'm really excited to continue on with this series. But yeah, I really enjoy Elle Kennedy's writing style. Like, it's really quick to read, really fast-paced, really keeps you gripped. And I just really enjoyed Brenna and Jake as characters as well. Brenna was like a feisty girl, and I really enjoyed that. Like, you know, people used to say to her, like, oh, you know, you're Coach Jensen's daughter, you're just out to get us. And it's like, it's not that deep. Like, she obviously wants her dad's team to do well, but she's not gonna like seduce you to distract you to make your team lose. Like, it's really not about that. Although there is a scene in here when Harvard and Briar are playing each other and the teams get in a fight, which was quite funny to read. It's always about a girl, isn't it? Like, even the coach says it's always about a girl. Yeah, this was really good, and I really enjoyed this one, so I'm excited to continue on with this series. So that is the end of this reading vlog. So we have made progress in quite a few series in this vlog. Comment down below if you've read any of these books. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. If you've made it this far, please remember to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.